We will start, however, today with a conversation with Gaurav Chaturvedi from Kae Capital. As you know, we've been, for the last, I would say, almost 3 months, we've been having conversations about AI investment thesis with our friends in the investor community. AI is very confusing for lots of people out there right now. AI is sweeping through industry like mad right now. Everybody wants to do an AI startup, and investors left, right, and center want to invest in AI startups. So then comes the next question: what is a good investment? What is a good business to build that can attract investment? And what are the implications of the various trends in our business? So that's the conversation we're going to have first, and then we'll get to the entrepreneur pitches. Gaurav, welcome. This is your first time here, so it's great to have you. Let's get started.
Thanks for having me, Samana. Excited to be here.
My pleasure. So, Gaurav, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Sasha from Kae Capital has been here before. We've had conversations with him, but I think this particular investment category is more up your alley in the Kae Capital portfolio. So let's get to know you a little bit, as well as Kae Capital's work with AI startups.
Well, let me first start with a quick intro to K. We'll be one of the very early stage fund in India. We typically invest across pre-seed, seed, in some cases pre-series A or seed plus. We are investing from our third fund, which is a $100 million fund. Typically write first checks of 500K to about $3 million, and then double down in the company as we move forward. I am an entrepreneur turned venture capital investor. I did an edtech company back in the day, 2006 to 2016, after my engineering. Then sold that company and then joined K. I've been with the firm for about 6 years now. And at K, I spend most of my time on B2B. So that would be B2B software most of the time. We also invest in B2B commerce, which is supply chain kind of businesses, both domestic in India as well as cross-border. And in software, we have invested across application layer in SaaS companies in the last 10, 12 years of our journey. But more and more, like you mentioned, AI is one area where we are very, very focused on. We have invested in application layers across AI. So AI is one of the core themes that we are very excited about right now.
So let's double click down on the AI portfolio then. It sounds like you are focusing entirely on the application layer.
Yes, we are. So if you look at the stack broadly, you have the foundation layer, you have the middleware layer, and then you have the application layer. We are typically very focused on the application layer, not as much on the foundation layer, while we can look at that, and we have seen some companies, but mostly very focused on the application layer.
So let's do first some case studies of what you've invested in, and talk about the analysis of, what did you see, what prompted you to write those checks. Let's do some examples.
So I think very excited about our AI portfolio, and we have invested across the spectrum. So maybe I can talk about one company in each area that will give a good context to the viewers. So on the B2B side, we've invested in a company called Super AGI, which is building autonomous systems for enterprises, which can be used in multiple use cases. The first use cases that they have gone after is sales, marketing, and customer support, as well as coding. So they are a fully autonomous AI-powered compound system, autonomous system, which essentially augments, I'm not using the word replace, but it can, but augments typical, let's say, salesperson, an SDR. So whatever an SDR has to do, a super sales can do. Whatever a software developer has to, a super coder has to do. Now, there are a lot of companies which have built these kind of agents, but what was more interesting when we talked to the team here, that they were going with a very fresh approach of not just having an agent, but having actually agent plus vertical custom built software for the whole workflow. When you think about super sales, it's not an AI agent only, It's an AI sales agent, which has been where the model has been trained on sales action. So it's a large action model, which has been trained on sales actions, plus a custom built system of records kind of a software which acts like a CRM or an AI agent. Our CRM still now have been built for humans to work with,
Mm-hmm.
and they have built their own sort of system of record CRM. So take care of the whole workflow end to end with an autonomous system. And this kind of an approach is something that we liked. We liked the way that they were very original in their research. They put out their agent framework in open source first. That's when we started tracking it, and then it became sort of viral. A lot of people started using it, and so great vision, a great team behind it, and the thesis that it is going to be a compound system, an autonomous system, and not just a simple agent which does the task and provides an outcome as a service is what we really liked on this case. The
So
consumers,
I have
yes,
a
please go ahead.
question on this
Yeah,
particular situation. What is
yeah.
happening in the market? So this company is now in the market. Where is it getting traction, and what is the experience of being in the market with this kind of offering?
Yeah, so they've been in the market for pretty less amount of time right now. They started selling in the market only about 4 months back with a
Mm-hmm.
product called Super Coder that they again open source, and they got a great response from the community. They didn't start monetizing that. They started monetizing the super sales product for which they're getting a huge inbound, and the founders are now based in Valley only, in San Francisco only. Pretty well known in that AI community over there. So they're getting a lot of response, inbound response from companies, typically Series A to Series E technology companies, but also some large enterprises to start using super sales and super marketing.
So interest, not yet deals. Is that what you're saying? Is that the stage of the
Deals is
company?
still deals is still early. They have some 10 paying customers right now because they just launched it about 2 months back.
Okay. The reason I'm asking this question, Gaurav, is so as you know, AI is easier to control in a more constrained mode. The more degrees of freedom you give it, the more it is difficult to control all the issues like hallucination, like
Yes.
you know, precision and so on. So AI has a tendency to make things up and go a little bit haywire. So I'm very curious on what is going to happen when this is actually operating in real world scenarios, and you know, how are they constraining, how are they preventing. Several of the conversations we've had here where people are already in the market are looking for ways to control that out of whack behavior. So is this a conversation this company is having?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so glad that you asked this, Shmana. So that's where their approach is very different. Most of the companies who have done this right now have gone with a pure agentic approach, wherein you give an input to an AI agent or an AI worker, digital worker, etc., and there's an output. And in a lot of cases, that output is what actually goes in your workflow, goes to your customer, and things like that, which is an approach that the customers are not really comfortable with right now because of all the reasons that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And that's where Super AGI's approach of having a software around, which is essentially being used by a worker, by a human worker in the whole workflow, is something that they are getting a lot more interest on. So in this case, what happens is, let's say an SDR is there who wants to run a campaign. The SDR will create the campaign that this is what I want to run. The AI will do the research and show show the results to the SDR. He or she will then say that I'm good. Okay, let's go ahead with that. And this is the cadence that we should do. In a lot of cases, AI will suggest the cadence at the next section. This is all human control. There's a human in the loop. So this is built for humans. That's on the UX side, which gives a lot of comfort to the customers that it is still augmenting a salesperson rather than replacing, and that way you can tackle all the issues that you talked about, hallucinations, etc. Of course, on the back end, because they have built the model, custom built the model themselves, and they have done a lot of research on that side, they've been able to reduce hallucinations, etc., by quite a lot. It is still, of course, there because that's like a bug or features in the AI technology as of now. Hopefully that will change. But just having human in the loop takes care of a lot of that.
Good. And in the coding
Yeah.
storyline, you're saying you're getting traction from the open source community. To
Yes.
do what? What are they enabling the open source programmers to do?
Lots of use cases over there. So Super Coder right now works for 2 or 3 languages and frameworks, primarily in the front end side.
Okay.
And the community typically has been using it for creating. So there are a lot of products which entrepreneurs have been using, and fantastic products which are more like co-pilots, GitHub Copilot
Yes.
being a big one of that. Super Coders approach is sort of end-to-end building an application, building a front end of an application, again with the thesis of having a human in the loop. So empowering the developer,
Mm-hmm.
but it does more than a co-pilot. So a lot of people have been using it for those kind of applications where I'll say just that I need this kind of a front end, or I give it somebody gives it a Figma file and it creates the front end for that. But there's a control in every part of that process where the developer can get in and control.
Great. So both your examples have highlighted the importance of the human in the loop. So let me ask you
Absolutely.
this question. Is human in the loop part of your investment thesis in the kinds of companies, AI companies you are investing in?
In a lot of cases, yes. And part of that is because we believe that technology right now is not in the shape for all the reasons that you also highlighted, hallucinations, data privacy, data security kind of things. We still don't understand LLMs that well, transformers that well. It's always better. And the customer wants output, customer wants outcome. Customer doesn't want a technology. And we believe that at this point of time, it is better to be on the spectrum of human plus technology. At some point of time, it will start moving towards fully technology, fully AI, but we are still far away from that. In
So
fact, just as an addition, a small point, we are also very excited and have made investments in services, AI-enabled services or AI-powered services,
I was
which
just
is how do
about
you
to get
use?
to that. Good that you get there. That
Yeah,
is the natural next question. So
absolutely.
let me actually kind of establish that question so that
Yeah.
people who are following this conversation can understand the thought process. So, if you remember the trajectory of the software as a service industry, we kind of came along in that industry with a do-it-yourself theme. So people sold software, and the enterprises use that software to do stuff themselves. So it's the do-it-yourself mode. Now, in the AI, especially with the emphasis on human in the loop, comes the question of do it for me. Instead of do it yourself, if you can not only get the AI technology, but if you get AI enabled services to actually do the entire function using AI with trained people who understand how to use that AI and do that job function, whatever that in this case we're talking about. In some cases, we're talking about coding. In some cases, we're talking about sales. Some cases, we're talking about customer support. Whichever function it is a trained set of people who understand how to use that AI. So it's in a way, it is AI enabled business process outsourcing is where the trend seems to be going towards. So Gaurav, now I've set it up. Take it away and maybe give us some examples if you have invested in this category.
Absolutely. I think you're bang on, right? And I'll add another dimension to it also. I think right now enterprises have a lot of excitement on AI. There are a lot of budgets. Every CXO is mandated to figure out what are the use cases where they can use AI, and they have budgets available.
Yeah.
But on the funny side, they don't know what could be the use cases. They don't know how the technology works. They don't know how to get that outcome. So what
Mhm.
we are seeing with our portfolio companies also who are doing proper pure B2B software sales also, that there is a lot of solutioning involved,
Yeah.
which essentially is also going towards, hey, can I just give it to you? You give me the outcome. So it is moving. It starts from a pitch for a product, then solutioning, and then services that we are seeing with our proper AI, B2B AI software companies also.
Okay, so
On the
that's
other
a
side,
different, that's another, yet another nuance on it. That is
nuance.
basically
Yes,
developing, having AI platforms, AI technology tools, and then developing solutions for people. So that's more of a traditional solution services companies that are now AI-enabled solution services. That is
absolutely.
another model that is also, but that, actually, interestingly, if you look at the history of the beginning of AI uh, in our industry, companies like Palantir, for instance,
Yeah,
have been actually solution services companies on top of their own platforms and really understanding how to use their own technologies to then provide solutions for their customers. There's another company called Machinify that has
yeah,
followed exactly that same approach in the healthcare domain. So I think that you could create centers of excellence which with real domain knowledge in a particular domain have a set of technologies and provide solution engineering solution uh, services companies. That's
yeah,
another category of companies that are being built now. India stands at a very strategic position for something
yeah.
like this because there is this long history of services, building services companies. And interestingly, the venture capital industry was never interested in funding services companies, but now with AI, they are becoming
Right,
interested. So
right,
go ahead
right,
and
right,
talk
right.
more about what you are seeing, what you're investing in with that thesis.
Absolutely, absolutely. So coming back to pure that services as a software, as we are calling it, or software and services thesis, right, where you make services productized. We've very recently invested in a company that I can't talk about right now because we have not announced it, but they are building a marketing agency for SMBs, performance marketing agency for SMBs.
Yeah.
The whole thesis being that there's a lot of billions of dollars which are spent by marketing by enterprises and small and medium businesses across sectors. So you have brands, C2C brands, you have services also. All of them do marketing. But marketing agencies have not changed over the years, while marketing in itself has changed.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys have built a proper platform which using AI automates every facet of marketing. Starts by actually understanding what kind of ads are working in the market. So more of analysis kind of an AI, synthesizing that what kind of ads are working. And then of course, creating the right ad copy, adding stuff to it, videos, social media videos, all of that stuff which is automated by AI.
Mm-hmm.
But again, very interestingly, they have put human in the loop and they are creating it as a services business, wherein they are saying that, hey, if you are a 5 million, $10 million revenue small company, a services company, you don't have access to the kind of agency, quality agencies that an enterprise has. But today, because I'm automating most of this stuff, my cost of serving you is very small and a lot of heavy lifting is being done by AI. I can provide you the same data-driven marketing insights and creatives and agencies as an AI platform plus services. So
Yeah.
that's another example of where you are actually taking a services industry, putting it, wrapping it around a AI product, custom built product,
Yeah.
and then creating a company out of it. Now, interestingly, what you said that VCs were never interested in services industry. We believe that services typically has been 50 to 60% gross margin kind of a business, translates to about 20% EBITDA. But if you automate a lot of stuff by using AI, this can go closer to a typical software gross margin. And if you are able to provide real value to the customer, and if you are able to get retention of the customer, it starts mirroring a typical software business model where the cash flow profiles, etc., also become like that. So there's no reason why
Well, and the
it is
repeatability and
different.
scalability of the business goes up, right? One of the critical
Absolutely.
services business is the lack of scalability. Although we have seen very large services companies being built by using various kinds of best practices, but I think AI just takes that to a different level of scalability. And I do think services business models are going to be a very big part of this do it for me business models are going to be a very big part of the AI revolution. And as such, VCs should invest in services companies.
Absolutely. We are bang on exactly same thought process.
So what, in terms of the Indian industries, your focus is in the Indian industry, of course, global markets often, but your business, the deal flow is all Indian deal flow. Can you talk a little bit about what are you seeing in the deal flow, in the trends, in the numbers? You know, how many AI startups are in India right now, and what are the trends of those?
Yeah, interesting question. I unfortunately would not have the right numbers, but I'll still give some ballpark.
Yeah.
I think I think we started seeing a lot of companies come up and start on the AI side about a year back, uh,
Yeah.
specifically after ChatGPT revolution started. And this has gone up and down. So I'll say it has come in waves. The first wave was typical, which I think happened globally also, what you would loosely call wrappers, where you take an API of OpenAI and then just build a wrapper around it. Useful sometime, but a lot of issues with retention and a lot of initial issues with hallucination, etc. That was the first wave. Then we started seeing a lot of companies come up on sort of LLM ops kind of categories, middleware, where they give a platform to manage LLM applications, and there are a bunch of them which have come up in the last 6 months or so, last 9 months or so. In the last 6 months is where we have started seeing a lot more applications come up with a specific angle of solutioning or services also. So that's again something that we have started to see now, and we've seen across spectrum. So we've seen a lot of applications on the sales side, we've seen a lot of applications on marketing side that, as you would appreciate, are usually the first ones that people look
Yes.
at, the lowest hanging fruit. But we have also, because of India's rich history or Indian ecosystem's rich history with dev tools, we've started to see a lot of dev tooling on the LLM application side also, as well as a lot of products which are using AI on the software development lifecycle. So that's another category which is coming up. I think it just generally goes in waves. But if I have to just broadly think about most of the software companies, like the entrepreneurs who are building B2B software, it's all AI. So the deal flow is more or less mirroring that. Whatever you used to see in normal SaaS 2 years back, almost a similar kind of stuff you are seeing in AI in terms of volume.
And what are you seeing on the BPO side? You know, BPO is the lowest hanging fruit for AI to automate. And
Yeah,
this discussion that we just had applies very well to BPO, right? You can,
yes,
you know, automate a very large part of what is being done in a human BPO mode. A lot of that can be AI enabled, but it can still continue to be in this do it for me mode. So,
yeah.
what are you seeing? You know, whole BPO workflows turn into AI companies?
We are. I think it is still not as prevalent, but a lot of companies have started to take voice agents as a core technology and convert it into a customer support agent or sort of that BPO kind of a thing. A lot of companies have taken that do it for me approach, wherein instead of hiring 10 customer support agents for any use case, you can just outsource it to them. Wherever we have spoken to, and this was few months back when we spent some time on this. And most of them are, by the way, targeting specific industries, mostly in India. So none of them is looking at global market right now. And in India itself, it's a large enough market. And most of them are going category by category. So some folks are building it specifically for retail. Some folks are building specifically for BFSI, banking and finance, which is a very large use case. There's still, I'll say, teething issues that the companies are right now figuring out. And those are typically in terms of quality, reliability, and specifically in the case of financial services, you need accuracy, you need reliability over there. Because of technology and of course latency also. So technology is still probably not there 100% for them to really uh, scale it up very quickly. So a lot of them are in the POC stages, and we hope that few of them will sort the technology out and will start scaling up. But we are seeing a bunch of them.
And what about the language? You know, in India, there are so many languages, and there is a whole, you know, population that is not English speaking.
Yeah.
Is that coming into the forefront now? Because a lot of things are doable with AI on the language side now. Is that starting to show applications?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, interesting that you asked that. So we have invested in on the consumer side, like I mentioned, we have invested across. We've invested in a company like Super AGI, which is pure software in a different way. We've invested in a services company, which is marketing agency. On the consumer side, we've invested in a company called Supernova, which is an English language tutor for vernacular students in Middle India.
Okay.
And as you know, right now it's a huge market which nobody was able to really crack because it is Middle India, so the AOVs are lower over there. What's interesting about these guys, what they have built is they have built a AI tutor for English, which is right now focused on vernacular and specifically from Tamil, from South Indian languages. This is at a much lower price point. This is, of course, fully AI driven, wherein you converse with an AI and they've built very interesting technology around typical use of foundation models. But what is more interesting that we like about them is that they have actually used AI to automate all their business processes, where their sales funnel, their support function, everything is using AI. And because of that, they've been able to get their cost of acquiring a customer and cost of supporting a customer bring down by 60-70%.
Yeah.
And that's the whole reason why they could make it at a price point which is palatable to Middle India.
Yeah.
So this kind of a business model in itself was not possible before Gen AI technology came up. But we are seeing a lot of these kind of applications as well.
Yeah. So I think this is what you're highlighting is a very big opportunity, not just in India, in a lot of the developing markets, of being able to cater to those markets at a very low price point. I think the entire African continent is up for grabs because it hasn't really had the level of training, education. It has been low, and it's a very large youth population that needs education, etc., etc. So I think this consumer applications, ed tech applications, there are lots of opportunities in all these cases, and both from a price point of view and from a language point of view, this is a very ripe, very wide opportunity. Great. Well, wonderful conversation.
Exactly.
Gaurav, any other last thoughts before we switch to the entrepreneurs segment?
So I think this has been great. Again, thanks for having me. Just to sort of underscore the point that we believe AI is one of the biggest platform shifts after probably cloud, and it will have a lot of second order effects that we are right now not able to even see. It will change how software or technology is created, distributed, and consumed. But we are still in the early phase. So a lot of things to be excited about for us as well as for the entrepreneurs.
Very good. Wonderful conversation. Thank you for coming. And we will continue, as we, of course, every 6 months, every 9 months, there's going to be a lot to discuss. So this is a series that we're going to continue for a while, and we will revisit. So folks, we're going to switch to the
Look forward to
entrepreneurship
that. Thanks for
section.
having me. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome.